Guys, it's me, Jessie of Jessie's Cards and Crafts. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are all doing great. Today I decided to make a video for you instead of just posting a picture of the card I created, just to kind of take you through the process and show you, the Stampin' Up tools and different techniques and things. I don't know, let me know what you think. If you like it, if you think, yeah, stick to pictures, let me know that too. All right, let's get into it. First of all, I'm going to pull out the paper trimmer from Stampin' Up. Our paper trimmer is really good quality. It's super sturdy. It's got a great grid system on it to make it easy to find your measurements and things like that. But another cool feature on this paper trimmer is that it has a score as well. So I'm going to show you how to make a basic card base by just taking a piece of cardstock. This is your standard 11 by 8.5 piece. You're going to cut it in half, go to the side and score it at 4 1/4, which is about half of the piece of paper. You want to make sure that you push the cutting blade out of the way and just run the score over it. Now you got a nice crease that's going to help you fold it perfectly, and I like to use a bone folder just to make sure it's really creased down nicely and the card lays flat. But you could just fold it in half too. It's up to you. All right, so that we got it nice and creased, there's our card base. Pretty easy, right? So the next thing we're going to do is create the first layer on the card. I'm going to be using a piece of our Designer Series paper from the Ornate Garden series, and it's a two-sided paper. One side has this gorgeous foil, almost embossed pattern to it. The other side is floral. I'm going to take back out the paper trimmer, and I believe, let me see, okay, see how I do that? That's about 4 inches across, and I'm going to just trim this paper down, get that out of the way, to about 5 1/4, because our card base is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So this piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and when you cut it, you have a nice frame around, and just those little details actually make a big difference. Gives you card dimension and makes it look fancy. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to take this same Designer Series paper, but I'm going to flip it over, and I use the cut and emboss die from the Stitch So Sweetly collection to create this layered look. Now notice how this side of the paper coordinates perfectly with the floral side of the paper. Stampin' Up products, you're going to find this throughout. It doesn't matter what line you use. They coordinate all of their colors. So their inks match with their paper, match with their embellishments. There is no guesswork. You could go to Hobby Lobby's or Michael's and try to pick a red cardstock with a red ink pad and then, a red ribbon, get it home, and none of them match. This, is going to match, and it's seamless. You look in the catalog, it shows you the color story of the different collections, so oh, okay, let me get some Pear Pizzazz ink and some Calypso Coral because it's going to match my Designer Series paper, and off you go. It's just one of those things that I really appreciate because Otherwise, it takes me forever to pick out the perfect paper and the perfect embellishment and the perfect ribbon and the perfect this, and by the time I get it all together, my perfect card is no more because the event's done and I had to buy one. So that's just me. That's the way my brain works. This makes it very easy for me. Okay, so the next step is to cut out a piece of Whisper White cardstock with another cut and emboss shape, and then we're going to stamp it. Finally to the stamping, right? So for that, I'm going to use this tool called the Stamparatus. Now this is a stamping platform, and basically what that is, if you don't know, is it is what I just said. It was a stamping platform. You're going to take your paper, use the grid, and place what you want to stamp your paper down. Okay, it comes with really strong magnets. You're going to want to secure that paper down. Now you're going to take your photopolymer stamps or your rubber stamps and stick them to the plate. That way you can ensure before you even stamp that your things are going to line up. They're going to be straight. Let me kind of eyeball that. I made marks to make sure I would get it in there, you know, to kind of save on time, but it's always good to double check. Okay, I'm going to use Coastal Cabana, or no, I'm sorry, Calypso Coral, and ink my Stampin' platform and the stamp. And if you get a little extra on the platform, you might just want to wipe it off with a baby wipe or something, because you don't want that to hit the paper. So you flip it over, kind of give it a little pressure, let it sit there and let the paper absorb it. Look at that, perfect straight, but it's not quite as dark as I'd like it because it's a small sentiment and I really want to be able to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and just ink up that one more time, that stamp, wipe the excess, and put it down again. Now, because I'm using the Stamparatus, I know that that lined up perfectly. I don't have to worry, and look at that nice, dark, crisp image. Now, the great thing about our stamping platforms is it comes with more than one plate. So you don't have to then stop, get out the next stamp, position it. No, you set it up, you put your stamps where you want them, and you can do multiple stamping at once if you want to create a few cards, you know, kind of do an assembly line. It's great, great feature. So let's stamp this down. That's it. Pull it up. Oh, that's great. And I think it's dark enough. I'm happy with that. So there you go. Thanks for everything. Got that piece done. Ooh, don't do that. I'm going to move this out of the way. All right, now all we have to do really is assemble the card. See how quick and easy that was? I'm going to go ahead and close my stamps, or my ink pads. We don't want them to dry out. There we go. All right, here we go. So at this part, just make sure that your card's going to open the way you want it to. And to adhere this down, I'm going to use our Tombow liquid glue. Now you can use Stampin' Seal, which is a adhesive that comes out on a roll, or you can use dimensional dots to give it some dimension, which is basically, if you don't know what that is, basically a foam, a double-sided foam tape that will give your card some dimension, and we're actually going to use those in a minute so I can show you. But I like the liquid glue for this because I am going to put some dimension on the card, but I don't need every layer popped up. And it gives you a little wiggle room, so when you're putting it down, if you don't have it quite where you want it, you can kind of slide it around for a minute, figure out where that is. Now, our next layer, I'm going to flip over and use the pretty foiled side, and I'm going to use some more Tombow glue and just kind of slide that in place where you like it. Let me hold this up. It's kind of hard to do flat for me. All right, there we go. And then smooth it down. All right, how's that look? Looking good? All right. It's probably a little crooked. I don't care what I do, it's always a little crooked. That's just me. Means it's homemade with love. Okay, so now the sentiment. Now we're gonna use these Stampin' Dimensionals that I talked about. I just like a little height on the card. It brings the focal point to the front and gives it some interest. Boop. I like to use a good amount so I know it's not going to go anywhere and it doesn't sag in the middle. So you just stick them down, pull the backing off, and then we're going to stick this down. Okay. Now this, kind of try to be a little careful with it until you get it where you want it. Yeah, that looks good. All right, now this could be a finished card. You could write your sentiment in it, send it off. But you know me, I have to have a little bit of bling, a little bit of something something. So I'm going to use these coordinating enamel embellishments. Just a little something right there. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Look at how quick and easy that was. If you'd like to learn more about the products I used today or have any questions, feel free to comment or go look at my OnLive catalog, and just please like this video if you think I did all right. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend.